In this video, we'll tackle problem 22-1A. Before we jump into it, I want to remind you to download the workbook from my website, tonybell.com. You just click the PDF link. There's no sign in, no sign up, nothing like that. Scroll down, find the problem, and get to work with me. Let's jump into the problem. Let's jump into problem 22-1A. We're here, the final chapter of our intermediate financial accounting course. And we're looking at classifying changes and errors, accounting changes and accounting errors, and how to deal with them. And this problem just says, is this a change? If so, what type of change is it? Is it an error or is it something else? So it gives us various situations. And then, regardless, how do we treat it? Like, what do we do about this situation? So let's read through it and see how to deal with it. Penticton Distributors is preparing its December 31st financial statements. A newly hired controller has flagged the following 10 independent items encountered during the year-end close. So there's 10 items we got to look at. One bonus US only one. It says for each independent item above, classify it as being a change in accounting principle. That's a US GAAP term. Under Canadian GAAP IFRS, we call it change in accounting policy, but they're exactly the same thing, just different language. Is it a change in estimate? Is it a prior period error that needs correcting? Or is it something else? Or is it nothing at all? Non-issue would sort of class it under other. Part B says, okay, well, you've identified it. Now what to do about it? Do you make a prospective change? That just means change it from now on. Do you make a retrospective change? Do you go back and fix that old error and go back and fix the old statements and any knock-on effects coming forward? Or is it just like, if it was other and it was a complete non-issue, you just account for it like something normal. So that's what current basically means. Okay, let's get into it. Let's go through these and we'll classify the type and the treatment of each one. Effective January 1st, 2031, Penticton changed its inventory cost formula from weighted average to FIFO, concluding FIFO better reflects the flow of the goods. Okay, so they've changed an accounting policy, an accounting principle around inventory methods. Is a very common example of a principle/policy change. Right, it's not an error here, and what was our other option? It's not a change in estimate. It's just a change in how we're going to treat this, and it's our policy or our principle around inventory. So any principle policy change, your default position, unless there's some specific thing in the question, your default position should be retrospective. And that's the reason that companies don't often change these principles and policies, because retrospective adjustments can be difficult, much more difficult than prospective. Equipment purchased in January 2027 was being depreciated over a 10-year life. Based on usage experience in 2031, they said, oh, actually, it shouldn't have done 10 years. We should do 7. Well, remember, the 10 years was an estimate. The 7 years is an estimate. We're changing our estimate. Change in estimate. I'm just going to put EST for change in estimate. Changes in estimates are changed prospectively. And that just means we change it going forward. We'll do examples of both of these in this chapter. During 2031, Penticton discovered that the December 31st, 2029 physical inventory count double counted goods in one of the warehouses, overstating the ending inventory for 2029 by 240 grand. This is an error, right? We made a mistake. There's an error in the old statement. If there's an error in the old statement, you got to go back and fix it. Retrospective, I should say, fix. Effective January 1st, 2031, Penticton changed depreciation on its delivery fleet from the declining balance method to straight line, reflecting a change in the expected pattern in which the fleet's benefits are consumed. This one's a little bit quirky. It boils down to it's a change because depreciation is an estimate, so we are changing our estimate. Yes, we're changing how we estimate it. There might be an accounting policy change underneath it all, but it's an estimate. A change in estimate, I should say, and it's to be applied prospectively. US GAAP, there's often, if you are in a US environment here, it'll often call this a change in estimate driven by a change in principle. But know that the change in estimate is the overriding thing. That's why it's done prospectively. During 2031, Penticton began selling a 3-year extended warranty contracts for the first time and adopted a policy of recognizing the revenue over the coverage period. Okay, it's a new policy for us, but the answer isn't policy principle. It's just the normal accounting thing, right? You can have new things happen all the time at a company. There's no special change. You just go, oh, okay, I'm going to start accounting for that and follow GAAP when I do it. So the answer here is other. It's none of those changes or errors. And it's just like current accounting. You just like account for it properly and you're done. It's not a change or an error. In years prior to 2031, Penticton incorrectly recognized, okay, I think I know where we're headed here, incorrectly recognized revenue from a category of customer arrangements when cash was received. During 2031, it began recognizing this revenue as the related performance obligations are satisfied. Okay, so they recognize revenue on a cash basis, apparently, well, it says incorrectly, so apparently violating GAAP, and now they're recognizing it as it's earned, as the performance obligations are satisfied. Well, we got to go back and fix the old stuff. This is going to require a retrospective fix because it is an error. We were incorrectly handling it before. Based on deteriorating collection experience, they increased the rate of estimated uncollectible accounts, their bad debt expense, from 2 to 3% of sales. This is a change in estimate, right? We're estimating future collections, change in estimates, and change in estimates are done prospectively. Penticton's adopted a new accounting standard effective January 1st, 2030. Now, this is important. It's not a new policy that we're choosing to adopt. It's a new rule, right? New GAAP, like there's new rules that come in and they tell you when they make a new rule, they tell you what to do. Is this prospective, retrospective? How do I bring it in? So let's read on. The standards transitional provisions require retrospective application. So it could have just as easily said prospective there. So this is a new principle / policy. So it is a change in principle policy because there's a new rule. Again, principle, US GAAP terminology, policy, IFRS, and Canadian GAAP. And new principles / policies typically are done retrospectively. This could be the exception. If this literally just said prospective, we would do it prospective. Whatever the standard setter says, that's what you do. And they will tell you when they make a new rule, do this prospectively, do this retrospectively. During 2031, Penticton discovered a $180,000 machine purchase in January 2030 was expensed. Okay, so it should have been capitalized. It was expensed. This is an error. And errors are fixed retrospectively. Last one, and this is a US GAAP concept. So when they talk about, well, let's read it. Through 2030, Penticton presented non-consolidated financial statements. Beginning with 2031, it does consolidated statements. So when they talk about a change from non-consolidated to consolidated in the US GAAP context, this is a change. So we'll call it other. It doesn't fit any of the first three. We call it change in reporting entity. I think it's sufficiently unusual that you'll get introduced to the concept and you won't see many examples of it in your textbook. At least I haven't seen it in the US textbooks I've read. They just sort of want to make you aware that it exists and to be on alert for it when a non-consolidated company starts consolidating. It's to be done retrospectively, and it's actually more complicated than I've made it sound here. So just know that when you're in this context of like accounting changes and error corrections, there's this other category called change in reporting entity, and it's basically when you read something going from non-consolidated to consolidated, you should be on alert for it. It is retrospectively applied. One other thing to be on alert for, your like and subscribe button. Thank you for watching. We got to the end of the problem, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now. The next video in our series is right up here, and if you want a supercut of all of the videos in this series, that's the one down below.